So the first question wants to know what method of data collection was used in the study. So what they did was they took a random sample of the population of adults in Finland, aged 25 through 74, and they just asked them to take an exam, determine whether they were a morning person or an evening person, and then asked them also what their diet was. They didn't assign them whether to be a morning person or an evening person. They didn't assign them what their diet was. Since they didn't use random assignment, they didn't manipulate the subjects in any way. It's going to be an observational study. And then 2 says what type of sample was used. So it says it's a random sample. And the nice thing is that it will allow us to generalize the results to the population that they took it from. 3 says, can the results of the study be generalized to a larger population? Since they took a random sample, they can generalize the results to the population that they took the random sample from. So the answer is yes. They can generalize the results to adults in Finland, aged 25 to 74. So that's the only population they can generalize results to, because that's who they took a random sample of. But since it is a random sample, they can generalize it to the specific population. Then we want to know what is the explanatory variable in the study. So they're looking to determine if your chronotype, a morning person or an evening person, affects your diet. So it's going to be their ME score, their morning eveningness score. And that's going to be a quantitative variable. And it says the researcher described the relationship between morning eveningness score and intake of whole grain. What would be an appropriate way to graphically explain this? So we said morning eveningness score is quantitative, and then intake of whole grain is also quantitative. So we'd summarize it with a scatter plot. And then 6 says, according to the abstract, is the relationship between ME score and whole grain intake negative or positive? So what they found was that intakes of whole grain, rye, potatoes, and vegetables and roots decreased, whereas those of wine, chocolate increased with lower ME scores. So that means intakes of whole grain, rye, and potatoes, and vegetables, roots decreased with lower ME scores. Since they both decreased, that tells us the relationship is positive, since they're both moving in the same direction. Lower ME score, lower intake of whole grain, rye, potatoes, and vegetables. 7 says, from the study, can the researcher conclude that a tendency towards eveningness causes people to drink more soft drinks? So no, since it's an observational study. If they had used random assignment in some way, then they can claim cause and effect. The reason why you can't claim cause and effect from an observational study is that there's potential confounding variables. So maybe there's something in common with someone who's an evening person that's also same thing that's in common that's causing them to drink soft drinks or eat more chocolate. So because we can't control for the confounding variables, we can't claim cause and effect.